Today is part 2 of my New York to Connecticut series on all things moving, okay? If you are considering moving to another state, or if you feel yourself in the season of transition, whether it is in a relationship, whether it is in a business partnership, whether it is in a mindset, right? Whatever it is, this video will be very helpful to you. So let's jump in. Purpose Driven Sis, I'm Daphne, and this is Purposely Daphne, where I share new videos every Friday to help you beat procrastination and achieve your life goals so you can thrive in the Lord's purpose for your life. And of course, give some life updates along the way. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you all about what no one tells you before you move out of state that I wish somebody had told me. First up, be prepared for the culture shock. It's real. And no, I do not mean different races or creeds. No, the culture shock of the state. Every state has its own culture. Coming from New York State, and as I shared previously, I lived in Long Island, right? So in the quiet suburban areas of New York. In Long Island, people don't typically stare at each other. In New York City, people don't typically stare at each other unless there's some sort of issue, unless there's some sort of offense, or they're trying to start an issue, right? In Connecticut, people stare. At least this has been my experience thus far. They stare at you until you smile, or they stare at you until they get close enough to say hi. Like, it just was really, really shocking to me having these sort of experiences, working at the hospital, running into people, and typically, like, I'll say hi, I'll say good morning, but I'm not like all in people's face, like staring until they do. But I feel like that has been a real big culture shock and adjustment for me living here in Connecticut, not to mention the sense of personal space. In New York, we don't be all in each other's face like that, like unless you're on the subway or something. But in general spaces and general places, like by choice, we're not a people group who are like all in your face. When people talk, they all up in here. Y'all remember Martin? Now I've been watching the reruns of the Martin show, right? On Netflix. And I just finished it last night. But you know, Martin be like, you all up in here. You all up in here. I feel like that's how it is here in Connecticut. Like, people do not let you breathe. Like, can I have my personal space? So anyhow, definitely be prepared for culture shocks that are just relative to the state that you're moving in, that you may have to adjust to, because I was totally unprepared for the staring. And it's all different races, all different cultures. It's not like, oh, a certain race of people, a certain demographic of people always stare. No, it's everybody. That's why I feel like it's a Connecticut thing. All right, so definitely be prepared for the culture shocks that nobody prepared me for. All right, I'm gonna prepare y'all in case y'all in the season of transition. Next, check for common wildlife. Y'all, I was the mind blown emoji when I realized that there were bears, coyotes, and bobcats throughout the state of Connecticut. To bring it a little closer to home, in New London County, which is where I am. Now, I would have never thought that. It's not like a mountainous area or anything like that around me. It's a very suburban feel. People have houses, people have apartments, people drive cars. Like, we have regular, pavement on the street. We don't have dirt roads or anything. So it was I just wasn't prepared. Now, where I'm from, we have deer, we have raccoons, some people have chickens and turkeys as pets even, but that's about as wild as it'll get. You'll see rabbits and things like that, but to have whole entire coyotes, like, coyotes, really? Like, what? I was not prepared. And the only reason I found out about it is because I use the Ring camera system, right? So I live alone. I have my bedroom, and then of course this second bedroom is my office space / prayer room. And living alone, it's important to have a security system. So I have the Ring alarm system, and on that Ring alarm system, if you're a Ring alarm person, then you already know what I'm about to say. We have this little button on there that says neighbors. And on neighbors, people can upload things going on within the neighborhood. If there's like a theft of a car, or if their cat is missing. I never seen so many missing cats and dogs in my whole entire vida, okay? In my whole entire life. I do speak some Spanish. So yeah, in my whole entire life, like, always these little alerts. So anyhow, on the Ring app, I found out that there were coyotes. There was families of coyotes in New London, which is only a few minutes from the town I am in. That had me a little shook. I'm not going to hold you. Also on the app, I found that there were bobcats and a bear. The bear was actually, I think, one town over from where I am. And the bobcat was, and I think was also like 1 or 2 towns over. Y'all, so when I'm telling you, check the wildlife in your state before you move, or the state you're considering moving into, I definitely recommend that. So for those reasons, I don't go out late at night. Like, I try to avoid going out late at night. If I absolutely have to, I will. Now, I've personally never seen any of these animals, like in real time, in real life. I've only read about them on the apps. However, when I've been driving on the highway, I definitely saw a dead coyote. And so I know that they're here. And then, of course, I jumped into Google and started finding out about there's tons of bears all over Connecticut and tons of coyotes. And so anyway, had I known that, I would have never moved here, but that's beside the point. It's all a part of God's plan. I don't think I've shared this with you guys, but this is a stepping stone as I prepare to go full-time business, right? So I'm not here forever, ever. I'm just here for like a year or two, get things out, build my business where it needs to be. And then I'm hightailing it back to New York because I'm over it. Next, have an unpacking team. I had people, an amazing dream team, shout out to the dream team, that helped me move to Connecticut, right? Take all my boxes onto the U-Haul and all that stuff. And then I hired a team here to help me unpack, to bring all the boxes off of the U-Haul into my living space. But I did not consider, once I got in the living space and was living alone, I would need an unpacking team. I mean, I had over, just to give you some perspective, I had over 30 some odd boxes when I moved here. Over 30 some odd boxes. And so I had boxes probably in 1 room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms here or there for at least the first 3 to 4 months of me living here. So I was constantly unpacking, but also going to work, also creating content, also working my business, also doing this and that, and going back and forth to New York to things going on. And so the time, the effort, the amount of energy it took me to finally finish unpacking was just unnecessary. Like, had I thought to have an unpacking team beforehand, it would have made my life a lot easier and everything would have went a bazillion times smoother and it could have got done way quicker. So definitely think of having an unpacking team to help you place things where you want them to be, reach up and put things where you want them to be. If you're a little vertically challenged like myself, your girl is 5'4" the half is important. So, so when you got to reach all the way up there, you know, it would help if you have people around you who are not vertically challenged and things of that nature. So that's an important piece that you definitely want to have if you're considering relocating or thinking about moving or just in the season of transition. Next, sort through your belongings before you pack. I kind of sort of did this basically while I was packing, which kind of felt like double work. Had I not just taken some time to sort through stuff, then I could just easily pack the stuff in the boxes or into the boxes, right? And because of that, there were some things, because I was just packing, that I could have thrown out. Like, I have a huge bag, even now, it's in the closet. It's literally in the closet right now. A huge bag of papers that need to be shredded that I didn't get a chance to shred because I didn't think to go through stuff I wouldn't need here in Connecticut. Why do I need that whole bag of papers that needs to be shredded in New York that never shredded? I don't need it. So that was just something extra to put in the U-Haul that someone had to bring in, that had to be unpacked, that I had to put away for no apparent reason. And if you multiply that, that's just one small thing, but multiply that by how many rooms you have, how many items you have, how many things that are just kind of sitting around that you don't even use, that you may be considering bringing with you to on your trip, on your move, or what have you, that would help reduce the amount of things you have to move, the amount of space that you will need, and your overall process will just be a lot easier and a lot more streamlined if you sort through things and get them organized beforehand. All right, next, travel arrangements. you want to get your travel arrangements down. Now, so I had it in my head from Long Island to the part of Connecticut I was relocating to would take me about 2.5 hours driving, right? So I'm like, okay, no big deal. I have the U-Haul. I'll be good to go. Then I learned that there was a ferry from Long Island to New London County, which is where I currently am in Connecticut. And so I'm like, OMG, that cut my ride in half, okay? So you want to look at what are the best possible travel arrangements? What are your travel options? Can you take a plane? Can you take a train? What's going to be the best for you based on the volume of packages, of boxes, and things like that that you have that is going to make your life easier, reduce stress, and just make the whole process a lot smoother. For me, it was the ferry. For you, it may be something else. So you want to kind of think outside the box and explore your options before time. One thing I did not know about the ferry was that I needed to check the wind speed. Yeah, I learned that pretty early on because if the ferry is traveling from one port to the next, they'll travel if there are 20-mile-per-hour winds for the most part, unless it's like a thunderstorm or something catastrophic, or they're putting out the gale warning messages and things of that nature. So your girl got caught out there, okay, with the whole entire family when we were coming to Connecticut one time. And I mean, we were like, it was just absolutely crazy because the winds was blowing the ferry so bad. It was just like, if you're going to get motion sickness, it's going to be the day to day. If you never have motion sickness, you're going to be motion sick today. It was that type of wobbly on the ferry, right? Since that experience, I learned before you get on the ferry, always check the wind speed. They ain't never got your girl again, okay? Because you give me once, shame on you. Give me twice, shame on me, because I should know better by now. So now I check the wind speed. So you want to look at all your different options and little intricate details about them. Take time to research and really, really make sure you are choosing the best possible option for yourself that's going to make your trip easier. Next, you want to have an after moving list. Now, you guys know or may not know if you're new here, I am the list queen. My IG ladies, they already know. Every day of my life, I have a list. I'm looking around now because, look, of course, bam, bada bing, bada boom. Of course, I have another list. Is this even today? No, this was last week, but I have lists literally all the time, all over the place, just to keep me organized, to allow me to head dump it and get more things done in a day. I use lists and I highly recommend lists. So the after move-in list is pretty much comprised of the things you have to do after you move in. Do you need to turn on cable? Do you need to find out where the local grocery stores are, where you can get gas from? What type of nail salons are in the area? What type of hair salons are in the area? Do you have to turn your gas on? What are the service providers that are available to you? What's the best rate financially? What can you spend? What can you afford? And things of that nature. So this is super, super important. It helps keep you on track. So you're not 3 months into a live without Wi-Fi. I'm just saying, I've heard stories like that, and it's just avoidable if you have an after move-in list. Lastly, know your why. If you're in a season of transition or considering moving out of state or interested in maybe staying somewhere for like a year or two, like I'm doing, know your why. Understand why you're there. You're there for a purpose, for a plan. God has a reason for you, allowing you to be there, or calling you to be there, or placing or planting you there for such a time as this. So you want to know exactly why you're here. I know I'm here because God is allowing me to build this business that he's given me. He's allowing me to expand. Before I moved, he told me this is a season for expansion. I did not know what expansion would look like. I did not know what expansion would entail. But I said, yes, Lord, your will be done. And so why am I here? For God to expand me. And it's not just about the business, it's about me, my mentality, my spirit, my relationship with him, my relationship with family, my relationship with friends, my relationship with myself. God is causing there to be expansion in all areas around me, spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, and all of the above. And so you want to know your why, because it's very crucial to your ability to not get frustrated when things don't seem like they're lining up, or they seem frustrating, or little things come up like a culture shock that you weren't used to, or there's a bear 2 towns over that you were not prepared for. If you can tap in and hone in and remember your why, it will encourage you to know that you are here on assignment on purpose, with purpose, for purpose, because God has a greater purpose for you to be there during this time. So most definitely pray about, ask God if you are sensing a shift in your life, whether it is moving, whether it is going out of the country, whether it is simply just changing your major in school, know why and stand 10 toes down on that thing. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please watch this video next as I break down why I moved from New York to Connecticut. And y'all, there is a powerful testimony that I know will bless your life. So check it out, and I'll see you next Friday. God bless.